Hey there, welcome to the Healthy Vibes Podcast. I'm Kelly Renato, and I thank you so much for sharing your time with me today. And I hope to give you a quick bit of encouragement and help you just to think a little bit differently about something this week. This week, I want to talk about the narrow gate and choosing the road less traveled. This verse, and I've read it so many times this week. I just love it. Matthew 7:13-14. Enter through the narrow gate. For wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. So many different meanings, so many different ways you can think. But I think so much, and lately I think so much about this world and how we get so caught up in the pressures of this world, and you can just feel when something doesn't feel right, but we still do it sometimes just because this is where we are. That's what everyone's doing. It's just a little easier. I don't want to feel the resistance, people saying stuff, the unpopular choice. And the narrow road is often what goes against the crowd. It requires courage, conviction, and honestly, it's a willingness to live differently. And I love it. Like, I feel that the mission of all that I've done over the years is really the narrow road. It's the narrow gate. It's the road less traveled. And some things are just so simple that it's easy to fall into. And I've told this story many times, but I know when I first had kids, I wasn't in a great place, and that's why it all really just amped up so much. But there were so many choices that felt so it just didn't feel good, but everybody was doing it. And it was hard to say no. People would make you feel bad, or you felt left out, or just it was very lonely starting to say no and choosing different, but certain things just didn't feel good. And there's common things like drama, gossip, just being with a group of people that maybe didn't lift you up as much as someone else, or support you, or maybe just made side comments, or made you feel like your choices weren't good, or you weren't good enough, whatever it is. We've all felt things that didn't feel good, but a lot of times you just keep going back because it's the easiest thing to do. It's the most comfortable thing to do. And we are all following something. And we like to think we're independent thinkers, but most of us are influenced by something. People, trends, the culture, this world, fitting in. And naturally, we want, as humans, we want acceptance. We want belonging. We want approval. It just makes things easier. It makes you feel good about yourself. You think it makes you feel good about yourself. But it really turns to me when you are following the crowd and somehow you're not truly following your values, your convictions, your faith, or what you really, really believe in anymore. It happens little by little. It might not be some big, huge, terrible choice. For me, it's the little choices that just go just outside that narrow path that seem okay. Sure, we can hang out with them again. Sure, I guess I can go there. It's not really what I want to do. I'd rather be home tonight with my family, or, I really need to work out, but that's fine. I'll do that instead. Or, you fall into gossip, or you fall into drama, or you fall into judgment. And I'm not perfect. I speak these things and I do my best to walk a good path, but we all mess up. We all fall into these things, and we all have somewhere along the way. But the goal is to learn better, to do better when we know better, and to just keep getting back on that path that we know we really are supposed to be on. And that narrow gate, that narrow path, it really does lead to life, just like the Bible says. And only a few find it. I totally agree with that, because I feel that when I started saying no to things, or I started setting up boundaries to things, it wasn't popular. I felt like the oddball. I felt like a little bit of a loner. But it was okay, because I really knew that certain choices I was making I knew that they were where I was supposed to be. Homeschooling my kids is one of the biggest ones I talk about a lot because I never planned to homeschool my kids, but somehow we ended up on that path, and I believe it was a very, very much a God thing. Like, I really believe God pulled me there, and it was amazing for me, for my kids, for our family, but it was not the popular road at the time. It's much more popular now. It was very much, many people in my life told me many times how they didn't think it was a good choice for me and my kids. But we stuck with it because we believed in it, and I was so proud of us for doing that. So I want you to ask yourself today, with all kinds of choices this week, as we go into this week, are you making choices because they're right and because they're what you believe in, or because everyone else is doing them or pressuring you, or it's just the easy choice? And this happens with many things. It happens with your health, maybe chasing a job because you feel like it looks good. Maybe it's posting. A lot of people post because they just feel they want other people to see what they think their life looks like. Maybe it's just what you're doing on the weekends. Maybe it's going out or doing something when you should be home. Maybe it's how you talk about your friends or your husband when you're around other people. The pressure to fit in is real. It really is. And depending on who you're surrounding yourself with, it's all varying pressure. And little by little, I've been very particular about what I surround myself with. And most of the time, I'm surrounded by people that I feel like genuinely like me for who I am, encourage me to be who I am, chase what I feel matters, and are understanding when I say no or maybe choose differently. Because many times, and whether you can relate to this right now or you've related to it somewhere in your life, the pressure to fit in is that desire to be liked and accepted. Social media has totally amplified this, to fit in, the trends, the comparison, to see what everyone's doing, fear of missing out, showing people you're doing stuff as well, fear of being judged. You don't want to do something different because you're going to be judged. We care too much about what other people think. That constant posting, constant showing people what we're doing, what our family's doing, what our kids' successes are doing. And we get sidetracked of doing this to show other people rather than just to be in our lives. Examples are living an overly busy life just because we think busyness is celebrated, chasing status, titles, possessions because society says that's what we should be chasing, trying to just keep making more and more money because we think that's what will finally bring us happiness, trying to be at all the things because, you were invited, so you should go. You were asked, you should go. Wanting to be where the in crowd is, rather than just being with your people. The crowd is not always headed in the right direction. And the crowd is not always what makes us feel good. The crowd is not always interested in who we are and, what we're about and our heart, our mind. The wide road is easy. I think we take it because we feel that we get immediate gratification, popularity, comfort, convenience, approval. It's so easy to think we want these things or to just human nature to chase those things. And it's usually the most crowded choice, so we think it's popular. We think that's what people are doing. That's what we should be doing. And sometimes it's as simple as eating fast food rather than eating healthy. Instant pleasure or satisfaction rather than long-term growth and patience and really enduring the journey. Being entertained rather than trying to develop ourselves personally and grow. Complaining versus taking responsibility. Blaming other people versus taking responsibility. The wide road usually asks less of us than the narrow road. The narrow road usually is harder. It takes courage. It takes conviction. It takes putting your foot down and maybe not being popular with everyone. And it's not really necessarily even dramatic. I would think it can be a very subtle choices. And depending on who you're around or who is giving you feedback, your subtle choice might get a lot of resistance. And sometimes it doesn't. But the narrow road can look like choosing discipline when others are choosing comfort or fun. Protecting your health when others are neglecting theirs and making fun of you for making healthy choices. Speaking truth kindly to a friend when you know that it's unpopular, but you feel that they need to hear it. Creating boundaries when everyone expects constant access to you. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times with text that people apologize to me for not getting back sooner. And I never asked for an apology. And one of my closest friends, I still remember I said that to her once when we first became friends. And she said, please don't ever say that to me. I would never sit around and think, why didn't she get back to me sooner? Like, she made sure I knew that she wasn't expecting that unrealistic expectation with me. But these days, it's over access. Like, people are constant. Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you text me back? Why aren't you here? Why haven't you answered me? So other places the narrow road looks like today is prioritizing faith when culture is prioritizing self. Me, look at me, selfie. And putting faith first, like truly, not just posting about it, but living it, trying to truly live it. Pointing your friends in prayer, pointing them to God, praying for them when they don't even know you're praying for them. Homeschooling your family, that's a narrow road. Homeschooling your kids and support, and you know what? Not homeschooling your kids sometimes when everyone makes it think that we should and you're just not able to. You got to do what you're capable of. But supporting your friends either way is also sometimes the narrow road. It's easy these days to just throw friends under the bus, throw people under the bus, judge, gossip, rather than just support people and understand the walk that we're all walking. Maybe the narrow road looks like moving. Maybe you want to live somewhere different, changing jobs, making new friends, going into a different circle, chasing a dream, starting a business, starting a side hustle, going back to school, getting your real estate license, so many things. And it's funny, like some of those things don't even seem big. Maybe you're like, well, that's not that big of a, but it's funny when you do things other people aren't doing, how they'll like to make a comment or make fun or make you feel like, why are you doing that at this stage of the game? What are you going to do with that? So most importantly, live with conviction, choose what matters most for you and your family, and keep growing, keep learning, keep chasing your unique self, your unique life, and being kind and understanding and non-judgmental. And being openly and completely unapologetically showing your faith and sending people to God and pointing people to God. Sometimes the cost of following the crowd is losing sight. It really is losing sight of who you truly are and living according to other people's lives and other people's expectations, feeling exhausted trying to keep up, and then regret from pursuing things that weren't really meant for you. So how much of your life this week I want you to think about is being shaped by your own convictions versus outside pressures of what you're doing because of what people are making you feel that you should do. And a lot of times walking that different path can feel lonely because not everyone understands your choices. Some people may criticize your boundaries. Some friendships may change. Growth often requires you to say no. It requires you to maybe Separate yourself from unhealthy influences or people that don't really make you feel good. But loneliness and being alone are not the same thing. The narrow path can feel lonely, but it really, really can lead to deeper peace and purpose. And the more you choose that road that's not as crowded, the more you realize how important those choices are. And every time you make one of those choices, the next one's a little bit easier. So some simple examples this week of the road less traveled, like we talked about some big things. Some simple things, to me, the road less traveled, are just turning off the noise, finding quiet time in your day and creating space in your life. Saying no, pausing, taking breaks, take 10 minutes, go outside between meetings. Saying no on the weekends if you're not on call, like set up a boundary. If you're not supposed to be on call and people aren't supposed to be, you're not working. Like we have got to prioritize our health and make these choices. Other examples are choosing your health instead of convenience. Choosing our health is a hard choice sometimes. It's much easier to eat unhealthy, not exercise, not set up boundaries, not pray, not practice gratitude, not take breaks, not have quiet time in the morning. Choose your health. Your future self is really going to thank you. Choosing faith over popularity is definitely a road less traveled. Reading instead of scrolling, starting a business, pursuing a dream, saying no when everyone else expects a yes. So there's daily choices to me that are the narrow path. Just learning to create space in your life. We've become so busy, there's no space for thought. There's no space for clarity. There's no space to create peace and calm and better decision making. Create some space in your day. That is a road less traveled. And the reward of that narrow road is freedom, greater peace, stronger character, better health, clearer purpose, deeper faith, confidence. And it's easier for you not to compare. It's easier for you not to scroll. It's easier for you to choose family over other things. The world will keep pulling you from family, from faith, from your health, from peace. And don't let it pull you. Don't let the enemy win. Sometimes the rewards are slower, the journey feels longer, but I promise you there is more peace at the end. So what helps us get to this road less traveled? I really believe it started for me with my morning routine, and I'll say it over and over and over again. 10 minutes or more in the morning with prayer, gratitude, reflection, quiet. It helps bring clarity in your life. It helps you remember and remind yourself what matters most, what your values are, what your convictions are. It helps you make the choices day to day. So limit influences in your life that are draining you, pressuring you, and not encouraging you on the narrow path. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, encourage you, support you, and they really want to hear who you truly, uniquely are. So get comfortable with being misunderstood, and I promise you'll find more people that are chasing the narrow path. Make decisions based on your convictions, your values, what matters most, and on purpose and intention rather than popularity and comfort. So ask yourself, will this choice help me become who I want to be, or simply help me fit in this week? The crowd usually chooses comfort, convenience, immediate gratification. But the greatest growth often happens on the roads fewer people are willing to walk. So the question isn't whether the path is popular. The question for you should be whether it's leading you where you truly want to go. And these seem like simple questions, but spend time really thinking about them this week. Don't choose a road just because it's what you've been walking on or because everyone else is on it or just because it seems like that's the road to go. Really think about it this week. Choose the road that aligns with your values, your purpose, and the person God is calling you to become. Because you really feel it. When people talk about your gut, your heart, are you unsettled? Does it feel good? Those are real things. So listen to your heart, listen to your mind, listen to your gut. And just realize that wide road is asking you to follow the crowd. The narrow asks you to follow your convictions. And the narrow road might feel uncomfortable at first, but usually there's a deep down feeling of knowing that that's truly the road you want to travel on. So find the narrow path. Look for the narrow gate. Look for the road less traveled. And really this week, deeply think about your values, your convictions, and what matters most. Spend time. Give yourself some quiet and some space to truly think about it. Where you are and where you want to be. And what road you want to be on. And it's a journey. It's not an overnight change. It's a journey. And that's what life's about. But this week, start. Just start, whatever it is. Better health, more faith, getting in your Bible, saying no, boundaries, the side hustle, exercise, whatever it is, improving your relationships, start this week. And if I can help, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Share this with someone that needs it. Leave me a review. Reach out and let me know what you think. I would love, love, love to hear from you. And I hope you have the best week and make the choice that matters for you this week, because you really, really do get to choose. Take care.